Hi, everyone. This is Kristie with AG Takes Over. I hope you are having a lovely morning, day, afternoon, evening, whatever. Either way, I'm glad that you're here. Today's video is hardly original. Wig removal videos are easy enough to find, and yet this one has still been requested like multiple times. I think maybe sometimes we have AG tubers that we prefer to watch for certain things, and maybe we like their editing style or their voice or the way that they're chatty or, their personality. And so even though that same content is out there, we're still curious and still willing to watch it by somebody else. So when I went to the American Girl benefit sale recently, links to recap videos are in the description, by the way, if you missed them. We got several dolls, and when I did the unboxing video, I said some of these girlies are destined to have their hair removed. So first up, we have Truly Me 90, and we also got a Truly Me 116. Of course, we got Corinne. By the way, 116 and Corinne and Historical Claudie were all duplicates that we bought specifically because we wanted to remove their wigs. So here's what I use to get dolls' heads off and to put their heads back on. This specifically is called a weeding tool in the silhouette and Cricut world. So since most of the dolls that we get these days, well, any doll that we get new has the zip tie, then we get to deal with that first. By the way, I did edit a little bit out of this video, but mostly I left things in at regular speed because I want you to get a sense of how long does this take. Anyway, I'm going to stop chit-chatting to show you here. You can go either direction, like from the top down or down, the other, oh my gosh, or bottom up. But I'm just trying to get better access to this zip tie that was hidden. So I removed those stitches that hold the two pieces of the neck, two sides of the neck together. And then now that I can actually reach this, even though these are kind of garbage scissors and I should have grabbed better ones, they will get the job done. I promise you they will. There we go. All right, so that's her head off. She's so pretty. She's going to be green because we're going to turn her into Elphaba. And then this is easy enough to just pull through. I'd love to know in the comments for any of you who, just do you prefer zip ties or strings and why? I know this is an age-old debate. And if you, let's say, if you prefer zip ties, do you replace their zip ties with other zip ties? Or do you just do neck strings because it's easier? All right, 116 is up next. I will be honest and say I don't really love her hair at all. Like, I'm in general not a huge fan of the bright colors, but for some reason, and it doesn't make any sense logically at all, she's always reminded me of Luna Lovegood, who is blonde, so this does not make sense. Anyway, my wife wanted her, so we have her with this pink and purple hair, and she's staying that way. We named her Lilibet. But I mentioned before in a video that Evelyn Rose AG has a 116 named River, who was rewigged with a beautiful, I don't think her wig is glued down because she gets different wigs from time to time, but one of them, it seems maybe her primary, is this beautiful wig from Zazu Custom Dolls. And it's blonde and curly and kind of has a zigzag part at the top. And we bought that wig, and we're basically going to be creating River's twin. All right, next is Corinne. She was not on our, we definitely need her, but I thought, well, if they still have any on day 2 of the sale and it gets discounted enough, then we'll go ahead and grab her. If we miss out, I'm not going to kick myself, but since we do already have her. But it would be nice. I see people customize her, and she looks cute in a lot of different wigs. I've seen her in a couple bob wigs with and without bangs, and those look really cute. Not going to be doing anything to her eyes. We just wanted to be able to change out her wig. Anyway, snip, snip. This is pretty easy, right? I like having that tool because it's dull enough. I'm not too terribly worried about if my hand slips, am I going to like harm the vinyl? All right, last girl to behead. And we got Claudia on day one. We had an early entry to the sale, and she was our top priority, actually. We had like a handful of things that were like, you're going here and I'm going here, and we're getting these things first. And Claudia was one of them because we had seen in the benefit sale kind of preview video the night before that, yes, they did indeed have Claudia. But from what we could see, which they were intentionally kind of cagey about, it only looked like they had a couple. So we were like, beeline to Claudia. They had a ton. That didn't stop them from selling out because my friend Emma over at AG Dollies Forever did not, unfortunately, get a Claudia. And when I saw her, I said, oh, yeah, they have plenty left when we left. And her slot was like an hour or two after that. And I hate that she missed out on that. She's right. People were buying them up in mass. I will say, though, that I don't think necessarily those were a ton of eBay resellers. There were customizers getting her because for some customizers, she has been a popular request. Anyway, there they are, 4 beheaded lovely dolls. And then my setup is probably not much different from any other setup you've watched if you've seen wig removal videos. I use this measuring cup for everything else under the sun, so why not for a doll's head? I've got the kettle going in the background. And I just put the towel there to keep her from getting any kind of indentation marks on her head. And then I will, once I get the water in, just put a towel on top and this plate to keep some steam from escaping. I don't know. It doesn't make any difference, I don't really think. Anyway, here goes. And if you have watched my tutorials before, you know that I am all about transparency. So when I mess up, you get to see it. And let me just tell you, I messed up with this girl. It was a fail. It's not going to ruin the project. She's still going to become Elphaba. But it definitely damaged her, and that makes me a little bit sad. You're not going to know it by the time the whole thing is done. But right now, so I heated the water to boiling, and then I poured it in her head, and I set a 2-minute timer. And I couldn't remember in the past, because it's been a little while since I did a wig swap, if I usually do it for like 1:30 or if I do it for 2. So I did it for 2, and I just could not get purchase here. I found this little spot in the back where I was like, all right, I'm going to be able to get it. But it was like pulling up the vinyl. It was tearing the vinyl. And I was like, oh, I don't want that. Let me look for other spots. And this is what I generally do, just kind of work my way around. And I couldn't. So I put the water in for another 2 minutes. And I thought, this is going to make the difference. I mean, it certainly made it hotter. Like, holy crap. But it, in hindsight, I think just made it that much easier to rip the vinyl because the vinyl was so soft at that point. And I just didn't see a way to come back from that. I mean, I'm going to show you a picture of the wig after this because when I filmed it, I think I was feeling really like, oh no. And I was a little sheepish and kind of didn't show you the wig and the aftermath, maybe a little bit subconsciously on purpose. But when I was going back through to edit, I was like cringing the entire time. And I was like, no, I'm going to show them. It's a lot of vinyl came off of her head. So probably what we will do is I still need to pop out her eyes, and then we're going to dye her. I will do a separate video of just the entire process of customizing her because we have never dyed a doll before. I've certainly removed their eyes and put in new eyes. I've never done like green shading on a doll or black shading, but from the Instagram versions that I've seen of custom Elphabas, it definitely seems like you don't want to simply here we go. You don't want to simply dye their skin one color and that's it. Like they need some dimension. So I will end up doing some shading, and that'll be an experiment. So you'll get to see all that, but I might try to find some kind of epoxy or something to fill in the gashes in her head, or I might say, you know what? She's going to be enjoyed by collectors. We're not going to like beat her up or anything. We're going to glue her wig on. It's going to cover up these bad spots on her head, and that's that. We'll see. But yeah, here's me intentionally not really showing you the inside. Don't worry, I'll come clean in a second. The wig is in great shape. We're keeping it. But I slowed this down just a little so that you can kind of see these gashes. It was really bad in the back. And then here is the wig. You can see how bad it was in the back because you can see chunks of vinyl. Anyway, no crying over spilt milk. It's done, right? For the next one, I thought, I'm going to see if I could just grab a spot without even putting her head, without even using hot water. Because I know it's important to me to not use chemicals. I don't do the nail polish remover approach because I always like to reuse the wigs and I don't want to damage them. So I had been using heat very successfully. I really think that the reason that I messed up with that one is because I heated it up a second time and it just was too much. That was one of those, I should have sat down, thought about it, walked away and come back instead of just being persistent and, plowing ahead. So as you can see, this is coming right off. Like if you've never removed a wig, losing a few hairs like that around the edge is perfectly normal. Like it's unfortunate, but it's perfectly normal because the glue was on those hairs. There's nothing I could have done that I know of to avoid a little bit of loss of hair. So I was so excited, especially after that first absolute fail. Yeah, this was just like peeling a candy wrapper off of candy. It was so easy. And what I'm focusing on is just getting it off the glue line around the crown. Now they do put glue on the head. And for that part, I decided, no, we want water. I do want the heat to soften up that glue. So even though I started out with no heat at all for Corinne's removal, I am going to use the heat to soften up that glue. I know it'll just peel off really easily, and then I don't risk tearing the wig lining. Because we'll be selling this wig. I mean, I know it's not a hard one to come by because people customize her and then they sell the wigs, but whatever we can get out of it helps us recoup some of what we spent. And as long as we sell it at a reasonable rate, then it helps somebody else out too. So there we go. Pour out the water. I didn't say that before, but I think I was relying on common sense prevailing, right? Pour out the water. And then I just keep grabbing really close to the head. Ow. Instead of trying to peel one long piece and without ever moving your thumb, just keep moving your thumb back close to the head so that you're grabbing right where the glue is. I think that reduces the risk of tearing. And then there it is. A little bit of glue residue on her head, a little bit of glue residue on the wig. That's normal. The glue doesn't just magically disappear. So Yeah, this is perfect. Perfect. I did end up taking the braid out just because it was easier for me to, I don't know when I did that, but it was easier for me to grab. It made the wig removal a little easier, so. Next up is 116. Since I had a failure with too much heat at the beginning, absolute success with no heat, getting the crown, that like hairline glue off. With the second one, I decided I would keep doing it that way. So this is with no heat. And I don't believe in unnecessary apologies, but it's legitimate for me to apologize for the number of times I end up doing things kind of off screen. I never have filmed this before, and I'm always focused on like what is the easiest angle for me personally, not what is the best angle for an audience. So sometimes I slipped back into that mode, and you pay the price. So sorry about that. Yeah, hopefully having everything in real time and not sped up gives you a good sense of like just how long does this take? Not really long, actually. I mean, it's a little bit of a longer video because I'm doing it times 4, and you're seeing everything start to finish, like taking the head off, removing the wig, and putting the head back on. But still not bad. All right, so I did pause a little bit. I don't think intentionally. I think my phone ran out of storage, so I had to delete some things. Anyway, I got the hair pulled off of that hairline. And then now, you know the drill. I'm going to heat up the water, put it in, and soften the glue so that I can pull the wig the rest of the way off. By the way, I would love to know in the comments, do you do wig removals? If you do do wig swaps, do you tend to glue them down, and has that been successful? Do you tend to not glue them down, and is that more out of fear or more out of a desire for the flexibility of being able to switch out the wigs regularly? Full disclosure, mine is mostly about wanting the flexibility and a tiny bit about it just seems like a lot of hassle, and I don't want to risk ruining a wig. We've glued down a couple, and we didn't ruin anything, so I shouldn't be too scared of that, but mostly I just like to be able to switch them up. Coming off easily. Just keep grabbing really close to the head. I don't know. It feels like that makes a difference to me because I think if I just pulled and tried to take it off in one long strip without ever really readjusting my hand, I'd be more likely to rip the wig. The lining of it. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. We're selling this one too, so I was really glad that it came off as well as it did. I guess it kind of worked out that the one that we wanted to keep for our own use is the one that got jacked up so badly and has all the chunks of, vinyl in it. This one, I don't know what happened. I didn't remember to film it, but Claudie's came off much the same way as the others. At this point, you probably don't want to watch me do the whole thing again anyway, right? So Claudie's came off really easily without any heat. I'm only adding heat for that last portion of the wig removal. And then after that, we'll get to putting their heads back on. So Elphaba, the first one, the Truly Me 90, we have, she will get a specific wig and it will be glued on because she's becoming a character, right? 116, we will be primarily, I don't think we're going to glue down the wig, but the Zazu wig that we got for her is going to be her wig. And then Claudie and Corinne, we just wanted to be able to switch it out. So they will definitely not have a go-to wig. I recently saw a Claudie in locks. I've seen her in a bob. I've seen her with Truly Me 80s hair. probably even 85 because it's not exactly the same, would look really good on her. What doesn't look good on her? This does, seriously. Oh, by the way, yes, it looks beautiful, and I wanted you to know it. I had to redeem myself after that first one. Anyway, as I was saying, she's so pretty. All right. Get your head on, girl. So here's some string. If anybody really wants to know, I can look it up, but I don't think that there's anything remarkable about this particular string. I'd be a little bit hard pressed to find the diameter of it, but you can find that information easily. We originally got some that was like a very thick kind of, it was very sturdy, didn't have a lot of give to it, the string that we were using. So I don't know. It wasn't flexible. It felt very like thick and chunky. And this feels like the older neck strings that are really soft. And I don't know. I like this neck string better. Whatever we got before, it was like, I don't know, had a solid inner core or something. I'm sure it was very good for other purposes, but not good for neck strings. So we still have a crap ton of it just sitting in our like doll restoration box. I'm using a doll size bobby pin. Honestly, I thought that would be easier than the longer bobby pins that I usually use. I didn't notice a difference. You would think, but personally, I didn't notice a difference. But I just loop it over the bobby pin and funnel it through. It's the exact same thing you do if you ever have a hoodie, a sweatshirt where the string comes out of it. So, or sweatpants, you got to replace that drawstring. Come on, girl. Come on, friend. Have the towel down so that if I have to do this, I'm not going to risk shine marks. Hey, there's my daughter's hand. Annika reached in to help me. I can do this without help, but I end up like putting a pillow up against something or a towel up against something and then pushing her body into it so I get that nice tight seal. It's just easier when somebody was around to go, hey, push her head in, which is usually what I tell my wife. Hey, come over here and hold her head. There we go. Looping it through. We don't have names picked out for anybody either, by the way. Well, obviously 90 will be Elphaba. I'm thinking Willow for the Truly Me 116, but that's not decided. And we haven't given any thought to we haven't given any thought to names for the Claudie and Corinne's that we just removed their wigs. Our background television show of choice for all of this was Is It Cake on Netflix. Let me know if you've watched that. We've watched both seasons. I could do without the host, Mikey Day. I'm not really a fan, but it's fun to watch people make cakes that look like real things, non-cake things. Anyway, all right. So that one's done. There are some, if you notice, like on Corinne's head, there's a big glob of glue on the back. I am going to do a separate video about different ways and tips and tricks for putting on a doll's wig, specifically if you're not going to glue them down. So helping them stay on, helping if you're going to be switching out their wigs a lot, what you can do to make sure that the wigs don't get damaged in that process. So I will be addressing how I handle that glue residue. There are a couple of options that I sometimes use, but I'll do that in a separate video. I didn't want this to get too long. I will tell you one thing. By the end of this video, my fingers hurt so bad. I think my daughter said, "You're not going to do XYZ." It was like some other thing. Oh, I think we were talking about I still needed to take Elphaba's eyes out or Truly Me 90's eyes out. And I was like, "No, I'm not going to do that tonight. Don't worry." It was already getting late. And she was like, "You're not doing that tonight, are you?" No, my fingers feel like they're going to fall off. I'm definitely not doing that. By the way, I am excited because we will now have, I think we have a pair of Blair eyes that we bought for a project and then didn't end up using. So we probably will use those. And that way we already have our green eyes for Elphaba. And then we have those blue eyes to use on a future project. And they are gorgeous, bright, dark blue eyes. Getting there. If it's not the most exciting thing for you to watch, I apologize. But at least it's not physically painful. It was physically painful to me at that point. There we go. Okay, so fun story about this. It wasn't really a big deal, but I 100% put 116's head on 90's body and didn't realize until we were getting ready to go to bed. I was like deciding who needed to go upstairs, who needed to stay downstairs. And I think Grace caught it. I didn't catch it. And I was like, well, I would have caught it. And she was like, I hope I would have. I wouldn't, I'd hate to die the wrong one. And I was like, no, it's fine. But yeah, this is not her body. So after the video, I ended up switching it back. All right, so here is a picture of Corinne wearing the blue wig. I mainly put that blue wig on her real quickly just to make sure that the residue, well, not the residue, but like the chunks of vinyl that came off with that wig didn't impact it looking okay. I just wanted to make sure that it still looked fine, and it did. And then here, I didn't even know if I was going to include this Willow because we did get her wig on and take her on an outing. So, yep, that is it for wig removal. Like I said, an upcoming video will be putting wigs on the dolls. But in the meantime, while you're waiting for that, if you like videos, tutorials in general, with whether they are making things for your dolls or doing things to your dolls, I have a playlist here on the left for you. And if you missed the video where my daughter dressed my dolls recently, that is right here on the right. So you don't have to wait till the next video comes out. There are plenty of videos for you to just click on right here. So enjoy, and I hope to see you for my next video.